you can hear me. We were on mute till now. So with this, I'd like to welcome you all to our webinar today, which we're going to discuss the SEO strategies that will prevail in 2018. And this is co-hosted with SEM Rush. Most of you would be familiar with them as an expert with SEO and SEM tools. So we have an awesome group of presenters today. We have Apurva Chamaria, who's a VP and Head Corporate Marketing from HCL. Rajiv Kondal, who is the Director Digital Marketing and Customer Acquisition from IBIBO, and which is a Redbus division. And also Deborah Masteller, who's the Corporate Speaker from SEM Rush and is a noted expert in the SEO, SEM, and link building space. So we have an awesome panel of experts, and how we're going to do this is that I'm going to introduce our speakers, and then they're going to take over and present from their end. We would request all of you to be on mute while the presenters are presenting. And if you have any questions for them, just put it into the chat window. And I just want to set the context that SEO is a huge space, and it's also a rapidly evolving space. I know many of you would have questions about, how do we use SEO, SEM as a tool to grow our business? And also what happens when voice search becomes far more prevalent? What about the latest Google algorithms? And what about omnichannel content? How do you track conversion, attribution? So these are all topics that anyone in marketing is typically interested in. And what I thought is we would take a high-level view and talk about what we think will be the big trends in 2018. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Apurva Chamaria from HCL Technologies. And over to you, Apurva.
Thank you, Jesse, Paul Reiter and the SEM Rush team. And thank you to the audience for joining in. This is Apurva Chamaria. And I'm now going to be sharing my slides and then talk you through some of the latest trends and hacks which could possibly help you. So, Jesse, I think Paul Reiter will need to stop sharing the screen so that I can.
Rajiv still can't hear you.
Hello? Yeah.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry. So hi guys, I'm Rajiv Kondal, Digital Marketing Director for Redbus. And I think a very good sessions from Apurva and Deborah. Apurva covered most of the points for the trends. So I'll be taking just top 5 SEO trends to watch out for. And my idea would be to give you more practical aspect from it, from brand perspective or company's perspective. So let's get started. So the top 5 SEO trends which I'm going to cover. The first one is voice search and digital assistants. Second one is mobile first indexing and AMP pages. Third is position zero or featured snippets. Fourth is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And the last one is UX for SEO. So let's delve into first one. So as all of you know that voice searches are getting now prominence in Google search results. Approximately 1 out of every 5 searches is already a voice search. And if you think about it, it's very natural. And because the thing is the generation is moving, right? So what it means is that essentially the earlier internet users were basically coming from desktop to your mobile devices. And the natural input medium for them was text. But the new user, the teenagers who are hopping onto the mobile devices, for them, they're discovering the net through voice. So for example, in WhatsApp, 37% of the messages right now are voice messages. So all of us understand the concept, but how do we actually bring it to the execution part? So the example which I've shown here, which is like a very natural query for a bus goer, because if you look in conventional SEO, then you will type something like book online ticket from Chennai to Bangalore, right? But if you actually are looking for a natural way of person, how he actually tries to search for it, they typically start with the bus timing. So something like what time bus goes from Chennai to Bangalore. And for that, there are multiple things you can do, right? So for example, in Redbus, we have actually introduced like markups and question and answer formats, which particularly target this. And if you want to know like which basically LSI keywords to go for, or which long tail keywords you're looking for, or what are the people asking for, a starting point, a very basic starting point is you type your money keywords into the search box for the Google, and at the bottom of the page, bottom of the searches, you will see something like people also ask or people also searched for. So that's where you will should pick up most of your LSI stuff. In addition to that tools, there are wonderful tools out there which you can use to discover these. But this is like very easy way to get started into this. And this is also reflective of Google's current index, what is popular on Google. So rather than hypotheticating it by basically giving different context, this is direct from horse's mouth. So, and of course, like Allo, Siri, Alexa, Cortana, all of them are coming up, and the landscape is going to change in 2018. Moving to the next topic. So the second topic which I want to talk about is mobile first indexing and AMP pages. Again, so the conventionally, Google has been always desktop first. So what it means is in SEO, fundamentally the canonical pointing is considering desktop first, and all other properties, whether it's your mobile, whether it's your AMP pages, or even if it's your app, you're basically considering desktop as a primary property. And Google was using pretty much same algorithm to rank even your mob website. This is going to change in 2018. Most of the experts feel that this is going to change completely. So which means that Google will actually prioritize mobile first indexing, which means that the crawler will actually come to your mob web first, which means definitely in terms of tech, you need to change your canonicals and your basically alt tags to cater for this. And second thing is that if your mobile web version is not equivalent of desktop, if it's a subset of desktop, then your rankings can suffer. The best way out is, of course, to have basically responsive, so that basically there is a technical equivalence between your desktop and mob web. But if that's not the case, then basically try to ramp up your mob web to have similar SEO technical structure as your desktop, because this is going to happen soon. Second thing is like AMP pages are getting traction. We have seen it firsthand, as you can see on the right hand side. So if you are typing for the keyword, say bus hire daily, the AMP pages are getting priority in that. So, and if you can see that sign of lightning or flash, whatever you want to call it, kind of highlights the AMP pages, and you will see this commonly trending in most of the topics on the mob web, provided your page quality is good. But again, it has its challenges, so it's not very straightforward. Especially, it has to deal with something as stale inventory in the travel industry. So if I have real live inventory, which keeps on changing, for whether it's for buses or flights, then basically it's very, very tough to create AMP pages. So it has to be a mixed decision between like, are you willing to live with the stale inventory or stale page, or basically the nature of your page does not require real-time content. So those are the decisions which you need to take. But yes, site speed is here to make the difference. And actually it has been clearly indicated in Google results that Google is giving a lot of value to the site speed, and also how engaging your users are finding you. The third topic I'd like to cover here is basically the knowledge graphs. And as Apurva also mentioned, zero ranking. So basically we also call it position zero among ourselves. So there is like a very clear case study that since the introduction of featured snippets, there is a 37% decrease in conventional organic listing CTRs. What does this mean for an SEO expert, right? Does it mean that we give up on SEO? Answer is no. The thing is, we need to view basically how we go about our SEO strategy. We need to aim for position 0 because this is the space for the major brands. And how basically you go about that is you try to again think in terms of topics. Stop thinking about keywords. Think in terms of topics, and age-old saying, but will apply in 2018 also. If you're creating something useful for user, Google is going to value that. So in this example, as you can see that a lot of people are searching for bus timings in Google. So what we did was actually create a timetable around the first basic buses and what's the duration for that travel, which actually helped us started featuring in snippets. So it's not something like you're just targeting for snippets. You have to think in terms of like what user needs. So if you have a right combination, then you will turn up in snippets as well. The fourth topic is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And everybody's talking about Google RankBrain. And the question is like, can you optimize for RankBrain? So are there any hacks around that? Personally, I don't feel so, because I think it's a very intelligent algorithm, but still there is a softer approach to this, how you can rank. Again, going back to the basics, stop thinking about keywords, start thinking about topics, combine the visual elements, combine the video elements, combine the news elements, and try to see how basically Google value them. And one of the important things which has happened, especially in Indian search landscape, is that Indic languages have arrived on the scene. So Google can not only listen to what you are speaking in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, it can interpret it very intelligently. It can interpret your accent also. So earlier the problem was the people with like a Hindi accent or Indian accent, the Google was not able to understand it fully. But now they have advanced algorithm. So even if you're saying something like Tiger Zinda, right? The voice search example which I used, you won't see result for wildlife or tiger. Google can contextualize this. That when you're using Zinda keyword, it's in context with the new movie which is coming up, and it will give you basically knowledge graph around that, whether it's images, whether it's videos, whether it's news results. If you change the same query to Tiger Alive, it will not give you that, because Indian user is not searching for Tiger Alive. He's searching for Tiger Zinda. So basically Google is contextualizing on the basis of user needs. Coming to the fifth topic, which is UX for SEO. It's already critical for your SEO rankings, but I think it will become more important for your 2018 rankings. And there are different factors. There are countless factors which will play a role in that. But again, most of these factors will be around useful engagement, relevance, and time taken to absorb the information. So there are like few UX factors I've listed here. Site speed and faster content load, whether it's with AMP, whether it's your data loading techniques, everything comes into that. Your content should be very, very relevant, qualitative, and informative. Use structure markups, schema orgs, OG graphs, and everything so that Google can understand it. Again, if you're from travel industry, you might struggle with the listing pages, so you can use aggregate rating and reviews for structure markups. Then basically use very easy and simple and effective navigation. And last but not the least, try to have text and images or videos which are meant both for users and search engines. Don't try to develop anything which is just supposed to cater to search engines. That does not work. As long as you're making something useful and relevant for the end user, you will end up getting ranked in Google itself. So I think these are the 5 topics which I wanted to cover. Summarizing that. So 3 things you should cater to in 2018. Think topic. Don't think keywords. Think about topics. Think mobile. Think about position 0. So I think these are the 3 key takeaways from my session, which I would like you to implement in your execution strategy. And I can take up any questions online or offline. You can reach me at this email address. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, Rajiv. There are a couple of questions for you. So I'm going to ask you to maybe take one of them, because the recurring theme seems to be, how do you accommodate NLP? How do you accommodate voice searches? Where does Google Home Mini fit in?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you could just touch upon that, because that's covering around 3 questions for you.
Sure. So when you are trying to optimize your site for voice search, first of the things which you need to start with is there are two things. One thing is basically your LSI keywords, and second thing is your natural language processing. So essentially, you need to find out for your website, your topic, what are the LSI keywords for that. And one of the simple tricks which I told in my earlier slide was that if you type in your money keywords in your Google search, go to the bottom of the search, and there you will find out if basically people have searched for something similar. You will get a very good contextual search map for that. Then you will also get your people also asked for. That is your Q&A format. So if you go to say Redbus site, we have actually introduced Q&A section. So there are different way of tackling to voice search. So one thing is for contextualization. One thing which has actually helped in real world for Redbus is that we have 2-3 sections which cater to that. One is Q&A. So simple Q&A related to the bus travel timings, everything like that. Second thing is user is giving a lot of importance to user reviews, actual user reviews. So try to incorporate them, try to structure them into your on-page site content, and you will see that that page will start getting marked up. Third thing is you can use schema.org to have the structured markups around products, entities, ratings, reviews, which will help them surface in the SERP itself, which will actually increase your CTR ranking. So I think that's pretty much it.
Right. One last question for you is, how do social media channels support for SEO?
See, again, like everybody has their own opinion on social media channels, but I think like couple of things which are there is, especially if you look at the off-page authority uh, factor for the websites. Earlier, it used to be pretty much around the links, or the kind of hrefs you're using, the URL which you're linking to. But now with these knowledge graphs, Google Rank Brain, Google is intelligent enough to actually pick up the mentions of your brand. So even if on the social media, if your brand is getting hashtagged or it's getting promoted without linking back to you directly, it will benefit you.
Okay, thank you so much. And thanks so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. We are actually way over time, so I'm going to wrap up the Q&A session now. And we won't be able to mail you the deck. So if you haven't shared it earlier, you need to send it to Paul Writer now. And thank you so much for joining us. And we do hope to see you at our next webinar. And thanks to SEM Rush for co-hosting this with us. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for hosting this. Thank you.